What's up, my beautiful people? This is Deborah Wilson, also known as Seer Junda from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and you are listening to the SSW Network.
Star Wars action figures collection, each sold separately.
He found out that Vader was his father, too.
Millennium Falcon that you put together. Batteries not included.
We pushed you over the edge, Chris.
Come to the dark side. Come to the dark side. We have alcohol.
We're in trouble. Let's get out of here.
I'm an asshole, just so everybody knows.
One by droid. Show me what you got.
It's R5D4 and the power droid.
No.
Action figures each sold separately.
And may the Force be with you always.
Well, thank you, Deborah Wilson. We appreciate having you say, may the Force be with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Pete Fletzer. I am your host tonight of the only live Friday night Star Wars conversation. You'll note it's a little empty in the room here tonight. You can almost hear crickets. I am waiting on my two co-hosts. Both Chris and Nick have obligations that are pulling them away, but that's okay. I'm also waiting for our special guest host tonight. We're going to have Greg Iwinski, who is from the recently successfully negotiating the successful negotiating team for the WGA, who have finally settled that strike, and congratulations to them. He's going to be on, and he's going to tell us all about what that means for both Star Wars fans and just fans of entertainment in general. He's going to give us a couple minutes of that, but we're going to be broken up into three clear segments tonight after we talk about the strike and understand what it means for us as fans. We also want to dig into a couple things. There's been some news lately, and it's been a little bit strange trying to cover the news, trying to cover Star Wars while we are covering all the strike and making sure that we're maintaining solidarity with not just the writers, but also the actors. The actors strike is still underway. And so our stance remains. We will not be talking about the new content until our friends who are actors are taken care of. But, it's been interesting because there has been news that has come and gone throughout this last several weeks. But one of the things that we're going to want to try to get to a little bit later tonight is we want to talk about the new Lando movie rumors that have just sort of surfaced from Mr. Glover and talking about doing the film with his brother. We want to talk about that, what we'd love to see from it, what you want to see from it. We want to make sure that we're hearing from you. We're going to post the link to the chat to call in a little bit later. We also want to talk about what your dream Haslab project might be. For those of you who don't know, Hasbro has been doing for the last several years, they create this thing called Haslab, which allows, it's sort of a Kickstarter for themselves, and they identify what content or what kind of massive toy they could create that would get funded, that would get enough people interested in it so that there would be funding for that. They recently funded the Ghost from the Ahsoka series and the Rebels series, and they recently failed to fund the Rancor. Previous Haslab projects include the Jabba the Hutt's sail barge, and of course everybody's favorite Razor Crest, which everybody funded, brought it up to the top level of funding, and then of course Lucasfilm blew it up. They blew it up in an episode of The Mandalorian. So while we wait for our friends, let me go through and do some of our usual housekeeping. And let's oh my goodness, it's so funny. The door just opened in my office, in my studio here. I was trying to figure out who it is. It was my cat, Hux. Hux has figured out how to open the door. That's great. So if he chews the wires, I'm kind of screwed. So looks like I have a guest here, and I couldn't be happier because I'm just rambling here for just a moment. There he is. There's Greg Iwinski. Greg,
Hello.
How you doing, bud? How's it going?
I feel great because we won.
You feel you should feel better than most people on the planet at this moment after all your hard work. But I definitely want to get into that with you in just a minute. You called me just as I was doing the housekeeping. And so,
Oh gosh, okay.
But hey, that's fine. How are you? How you feeling? How's life?
I'm tired and happy.
Tired and happy. It's it's like new fatherhood as well. Tired and happy, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
well, we're so glad you're here to join us for just a little bit. We know you have a flight tomorrow, so we won't keep you long tonight. But we definitely want to hear, since you've been with us along the way. We've been trying to keep the word going out about the strike, so we're definitely going to want to hear what it all means and get some of the inside scoop from you. But before I do that, I do want to tell people about all the places you can follow us on social media. You can follow us at the SSW Network on all the socials, even the ones that nobody's using. We're not using them either, but we're there as well. We're also on Facebook, the SSW Network there, and that's where the Generation X fans are still, whether we like to admit it or not. We're there. Facebook's getting weirder and weirder every day, but we are still there. You can also, of course, just find all this information by going to the sswnetwork.com. And if you're interested in some of our merchandise, you can go do that over there. Just click on the merchandise link. So why don't we get into it, Greg? Why don't we start talking a little bit about, first of all, we do a toast every week. I'm going to do a toast to you and the WGA, and just not just for the win, but for the perseverance that you showed and the solidarity that you showed, and just remarkable that you put it out. You waited. You pushed through it. So congratulations to you and all the writers and the union for all the great work. So congratulations there.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was the one of the weirdest things is that at the end of the day, it was a 148-day strike. It was the second longest strike in the history of the Writers Guild. And when push came to shove, we did 8 days of negotiating. The studios just didn't want to negotiate. They decided to try to wait us out and to see if we'd break and do all that stuff. But once the CEOs realized that the only way out was a deal,
right,
it took 4 days. They showed up. It took 4 days.
Right.
Long days at the Writers Guild offices. They came to us. Bob Iger, David Zaslav, Disney came, Sarandos came, got in a room with Carol Lombardini and the AMPTP reps, and they got in a room with us, and it was 4 long days of making a deal. They made giant moves, and we made moves back, and we actually, all the people who are like, lock yourself in a room and why don't they just lock themselves in a room and make a deal? Well, when the other person just says no and sits still, it doesn't matter how long you sit in the room. We sat in that room for all summer, and then we finally got to a point this week where they said, we are in real trouble. We have to get a deal. We'll come to you and work one out. And we went back and forth, and we negotiated, and we fought, and we got a deal that was pretty incredible. I mean, the value, just the monetary value of the deal tripled because of the strike.
Wow.
So, I mean, what do strikes do? They tripled the value of our contract. They enshrined that writers' rooms are real things that exist. They got screenwriters guaranteed rewrites when they sell a movie. They got us. We now get paid more when our shows are successful. So amazing. Your show
what
is
a
more
novel concept.
amazing. Yeah. That's in our contract language. A showrunner is a writer. That's in our contract language. Also comedy variety gets paid in streaming now. The same they get paid on TV, which for me was the thing that I was there to fight for. So we got an incredible contract through the power of that strike and our strength and solidarity. So it felt great.
That's fantastic. So what was it you think that, and I don't know if this is something you can even opine on, but what is it that kind of pushed it over the edge? Because you get to a point, and I think a lot of us who were watching from the sides and supporting you and pushing hard and rooting every day and waiting for that news to come through, we all just are like, what is it going to take to make this happen? And was it that they were running out of content, or was it they were starting to see a direct impact on their business, or what do you think it was that kind of made them say, all right, we better sit down with these guys?
I think it was a couple things combined. One is, and some of these factors will actually still help SAG in their strike because they're still on strike. They haven't talked to the studios in 75 days. They have to sit down on Monday and start a deal. And you'll notice that just like us, now the CEOs are going to the SAG offices. No more meeting at the AMPTP, because what was revealed in this whole thing is the AMPTP doesn't work, and Carol Lombardini and her team, they don't work. The CEOs had to come down, do it themselves, make a deal, and I think they've realized now that that Carol system doesn't work. So for SAG, they're going to have to come down and make a deal too. I think what really pushed it for them was there was that big hubbub at the end of August where they sat with us. They did a meeting with us that blew up. They released a deal. They told us, like, take this deal. And we said no because we had already been negotiating back and forth on it, and it did not have most of the things we'd said we had to have. And from August 22nd until last week, they tried everything except negotiating. They leaked the deal to the press. They started out putting out stories about how the CEOs were so good. They started going through agencies and having agents call their clients and say, "Oh, you should take the deal. You should give in." They tried to break off showrunners and have the showrunners say, "We're sick of it. Just end the strike." None of those things worked. They tried to bring daytime TV back, and we shut it down. They tried everything except negotiating, and I think you get to a point where you go, "Okay, the fall season starts very soon. A bunch of it's already lost. I'm about to have to do a Q3 earnings report." Right. We're really up against it. And so we had been in conversation with some of these CEOs for weeks and weeks where they had said, we need to get a deal. The problem with the AMPTP model is there are these 8 head companies and they have to be unanimous. So it doesn't matter if 6 or 7 of them are like, let's go get a deal. If one giant tech company in the back goes, no, it kills it. And so they ran into their own model is now hurting them in these negotiations. And once they were able to kind of step in on a CEO level and say, well, no, we're dragging these companies with us and get us to a deal, we were able to make something happen.
That's great. And so as fans who've been watching this, what's sort of the immediate impact that fans will get as a result of this? Of course, still waiting clearly for SAG to get their rightful deal as well, but what's the initial impact?
Well, I think you're going to see writing start now. So that means that projects that were in progress that paused, or projects that had not yet started, whatever those are going to get going really quickly. Probably on Monday, a bunch of writers' rooms will be open. Late night shows will be back this weekend. I mean, so everybody is ready to get going and to get working. So you're going to see a lot of writing happening too, because as well, we kind of want to write because when SAG gets going, we need stuff for them to do. Everybody's going to need to get back to work. So we need to have stuff ready for SAG at the same time that we're supporting them. But I think the other thing that's going to change, and it was interesting, I was thinking about this as we got the deal, is I do think, especially for Star Wars fans, the model of how the shows have been made has now been significantly impacted by this new contract. And I'll lay it out. If I can dive into the kind of what we won and how it impacts it for a second. Because there's a lot of technical language and people don't know what's going on. But with the room size thing and the showrunner thing, a showrunner is now the head writer or the top writer in charge. Before this, the showrunner was not defined in any contract language. So on some shows like Marvel shows, the showrunner was an executive. Okay. And then the person we would think of as a showrunner was just the head writer. And so that power was kind of separated. Now the showrunner is the writer that makes the hiring and firing decisions. In our contract, it says that. Right. So that changes how some of these shows work because all those people have a little bit more. They are officially the showrunner. And that, what does that mean in a business meeting? I'm not sure, but it is more power than saying I'm just here as the head writer. This guy's the showrunner. Right. But the other big thing is, we talked about minimum room sizes and staffing sizes and how TV is a communal medium. And basically it's going to change how these rooms look, because if you put together a mini room is before episodes are greenlit. When we're thinking about making the show, we get a couple writers together and we start working out the season. We break the story, we break the characters, we come up with the whole season. And now that used to be done during the show or in the pilot. Now it's done in a mini room before you've even greenlit the show, because for an executive, it's easier for me to look at like 6 scripts and go, or it's cheaper to look at 6 scripts and go, what will this be, than to shoot a pilot. Right. A pilot is $3 million. Yeah. And a mini room is $1 million. Okay, I saved $2 million. So there's a lot of mini rooms, and the problem was that they were really short. They didn't pay well. They never led to a show, so you didn't get credits. Now a mini room is 10 weeks long, guaranteed. 10 guaranteed weeks of pay. Also, if there's a mini room, you get paid 25% more for being in the room because you're breaking story. You're doing the hard part of coming up with it. And if there's a mini room, there then has to be a writer's room.
Right.
And so that will change things as well, because in a lot of models that we've seen these shows put together, it is, sorry, this TV is flashing. That's what that weird light is on me. I need to pause that. Okay. There's a lot of models that we've seen where like somebody writes it by themselves, or that you do a mini room and then there's never a writer's room, and one guy just kind of writes the script or farms them out. Unless one person is writing everything, like Dave Filoni is doing with Ahsoka. Dave didn't do a mini room. He broke it all in his head because he knows the Rebels.
Right.
He wrote every episode himself. Cool. That would not change.
Right.
But the way that you'd write Mando, or the way you'd write Andor, or the way you'd write all these things, like these things, it might not even change who the writers were. But what's going to change is that there's now a writing room where those writers are getting paid for a certain amount of time, and 2 of those writers are guaranteed to be on set when you're shooting the show, which I think is incredibly helpful, because in these big budget shows like a Marvel show or a Star Wars show, if you're the showrunner, you are doing so much, you're so busy. Right. And now you have 2 spots. One of them can be for a senior writer who's your friend and your buddy and is helping you take care of stuff, and the other one you can rotate writers through, so the person who wrote that episode can come be on set.
Right.
And be there. That also means that writer's getting experience on set on a giant production. So it's changed so much of this, where you cannot just kind of have one person dink and dunk it and freelance all the scripts out. You're going to, now with these shows, the big IP shows, the Marvel shows, Star Wars shows, if we do an Indiana Jones show, there's going to be a room. There's going to be a writer's room with writers in it, kicking around ideas and working on that. And so that's going to be a big change, I think, for that. And I just use those as an example that we know of.
Right.
Well,
I think based on what I've learned from talking to you, before the strike and during the strike on a regular basis, and thank you so much from me and the people who listen to our show to keep us in the loop so we understand it. Otherwise, and I think that's part of the challenge with any of these things is telling this in a way that people care about and understand. But what I've learned the most is, I think what has happened in the streaming world that we live in is the objective is content quantity versus quality writing. And so the mini room model, which I didn't understand until you explained it to me, it makes sense if I'm trying to cut corners, and if I'm trying to produce as much content, as many series as I can to keep up with Netflix and then Amazon and whatever. It makes sense that you're not dedicating to the show. Like, I think all the great television we've ever seen has had dedicated writers and people who are with the show for much longer than just busting out 1 or 2 episodes. So I think, if I'm hearing you right, that is now in contract to make sure we're going to get that kind of writing.
Yeah, because I think there is going to be a contraction. I think contraction is going to be a big word that comes out, and not because of the strike or even our new contract. You're like you said, that model. What people are finding out is no one wants that model. There are 600 TV shows made a year, and that's what leads a little bit to everyone being like, I don't know what to watch. I don't know what's on. I don't know where it is, because that's double what the number used to be.
Right.
And I say that not because I want there to be less writers working, but we do need those jobs to be good, sustainable jobs. And so I think what you'll start seeing is there'll be less shows with longer episodes going out there. And what's great about this model change is that almost every television show you've loved has had a room.
Right.
It's had a bunch of writers, sometimes only 3 or 4, but a group of writers all thinking together, making a communal voice. Cheers was like that. Lost was like that. Twin Peaks was, that he was writing most of that himself. But these, even Curb is collaborative. Like, these shows are written with a room of different people, and that's not to say that the shows we've already gotten in Star Wars are great. But like, look, Bo Willimon wrote and Tony wrote on Andor, and like, there are 3 or 4 people writing on Andor. That's a room. That's a writer's room. But now there's we've secured for that a place where it's like, now you guys have a paid space to do that work. You're not getting sent out freelance. You're not getting lowballed on the script. And you also are making sure you get on set. And I think, because I know some places already had rooms, like The Acolyte had a room, like there's places. But now it isn't up to a showrunner who might not be that powerful. I mean, if I sell a show and I make it, I'm the showrunner. I mean, you guys have met me. It's like, I don't have power to do anything. So if I come to them, and this is the issue, what we had before was, you said, well, I need like 4 writers. And they said, no, you can have 1. And it takes 4 writers, but you had 1. Now there's at least a floor. It doesn't have to be the ceiling. You can have more writers than this. Yeah. But a 6-episode. I'm sorry, I'm getting so into this. I just
No,
like
this is
we
great.
want it,
No,
and I want
this-
to just so you can think, because I think a lot of people are there. They think about the writing and stuff. So a 6-episode show has 3 writers, including the showrunner.
Okay.
7 to 12. Also, only 10% of shows made last year were that small. Almost nothing is that small. 7 to 12, you have 5 writers, including the showrunner. Over 12, 13 or up, you have 6 writers, including the showrunner. And that's what the numbers are now. So now it is, if you have a show like, Last of Us already moved to a writer's room in season 2 before this even went into effect. Or like if you want, like, and what it comes down to is, and I know people will think about this as well, as like, well, what about Mike White? What about Taylor Sheridan? What about these people? Some of those people don't actually write all the shows themselves, and they ask their script coordinators to do it, and they don't give them credit. I won't say which one that person is, but they do like denim. And they but the thing is like, if one person is hired to do all the writing, they can write it by themselves. But like you were talking about, like you were saying about there being less shows and stuff, and we were talking about it being longer. Maybe I can write 6 by myself.
Right.
Can I write 12 or 16 by myself? Do I want to do that? I don't think I want to. I think I want a staff where I can be like, all of you are writing first drafts, and I'll come in as the showrunner, and I'll take all the credit, and I'll punch them up. That's what a showrunner does.
Right. Yep. So and again, thank you so much for coming in and giving us some time. I know you got you have some final steps to do, and you get some traveling to take care of. What does this mean for SAG, do you think? How close are we to getting sort of back to business as usual? Because with SAG on strike, you guys can write all the best stuff in the world, but those guys still can't get in front of the camera. So
yeah, I think there are 2 versions of, I guess I would say, is I see 2 possible ways it goes. One is that the the CEOs are really frustrated with the AMPTP model. They've seen that Carol and the gang can't get the job done. They already have had to make gives, and they feel the pressure of time and the holidays and everything. And they go, okay, fine, we're also going to give you big gives. I mean, the AI situation for actors is so different than us, because when you're talking about my script, I sold the script to the company. Like, I sold them my script, and they have the copyright, and I don't. So what you can do with my script is different. But the studio doesn't have a copyright to your face. And so what they need with AI and what's going to happen is so up in the air. Clearly, one of the big things the studios are at is, I think, actually, even in the process of this strike, they've moved to a place where now they're like, we're actually not sure we like AI, because we just realized that everyone can destroy our copyrights and use our material.
right,
and now a
they should be
significant part of
AI themselves.
Yes,
Exactly.
a significant part of the studio's brains now is going, oh wait, we didn't think about that. Any kid on YouTube with AI is going to be able to make a Disney movie and put it on the internet.
Right.
And now they're like, oh, that's bad. And now we are in some ways aligned about like, yeah, we both agree that the script I wrote for you, we should be benefiting from, and not some random AI. So I think they have made moves. So I think there's a version of it where it's very quick. There's a thank you, TW. When there's trouble, you can call it TW. But I think that there's a version of it that goes pretty quick. By the end of October, they're back to work. And then, but I got to tell you, man, it's an interesting place. Normally in the Hollywood, Thanksgiving to Christmas, nobody does anything. And I think this year people are going to be like, no, we're working.
Yeah, we're fine. We'll do this.
Because end of October means you could have episodes up in the middle of December.
That's great.
So, I mean, people are working before that, but in terms of my friends and my sister and people who are like, well, when is Chicago Fire coming back? And when is NCIS coming back? And when is this coming? And you're like, Thanksgiving-ish, if this thing gets done in October. Because, you can shoot an episode in 6 to 10 days of a network show if you're really, but that's blazing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting. There'll be episodes that we're just like, we just had to get the episodes out. I think you're just going to see people blazing episodes out. But I think there's another version that I hope doesn't happen, where the AMPTP is wounded and mad and frustrated, and they decide to try to take it out on SAG.
Yeah.
And they underestimate how much SAG will fight. Because I think that SAG, and this shouldn't happen, but I think SAG is taken a little less seriously. And it's like, oh well, they're the silly actors and they're whatever, but they're fighting for their existential stuff too. I mean, they are asking for double the wage increases that we got. They're asking for AI protections. They're asking for some big things, and I don't know how fast that will go. I think. I think they'll have solidarity still from all of us. I mean, we're going to be on their lines on Monday, and we will be picketing with them and standing with them. But my hope is, that sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have television back, movies pick back up, and we'll see what happens in terms of one thing that's really frustrating about TV executives is that if they've seen something a couple times, they think it's bad. So like if they see a good script or a show, and then it's like, well, I saw that in April and I thought it was good. But now it's September, and I'm like, it can't be good because I saw it in April.
Yeah.
And so with that, I do have some. Just in terms of how projects are moving, you might see some cancellations and some moves and some things like that. Just as everybody gets stuff together, and they took huge losses. I mean, they saved a lot of money by not making TV, but now is when the studios feel the pain, because now is when the lag starts, and they start losing the ad money, and they start getting hit. And that was their fault for that strategy. But I don't know. I mean, they announced the X-Men movie, that they're looking for writers for the X-Men movie, which will be an open pitch session, I assume, where just if your agent can get you in, you'll come in and essentially tell them what your idea would be. And so I think they want to hit the ground running. And I know that rooms that my friends are in or are running are starting up on Monday. So I think we'll be back soon, and we'll try to make that put pressure on. The hope is that puts pressure on them to give SAG a deal.
Right. Right. They're gonna have scripts ready to go and nobody to act in them. So they're gonna.
And that's my hope too, because I think people have talked about like, well, with us, it's like, well, should we like withhold work or whatever in solidarity? But production is shut down whether we're writing or not. We can, but when we write, we can have the town ready to go because so many people have. Been hurting by this. So and IATSE and the Teamsters negotiate next year, so this could be a window where we just need to get stuff done. But no, it was I hope they get what they got. I'm amazed at what we got. This is an incredible contract that got every member of our union into it. It got even soap opera writers to game shows to late night to screenwriters to episodic people and showrunners, and everybody got something from this deal, so that if you were out there marching for 148 days, it was worth it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Last question for you before I let you go. What can content creators like myself and other podcasters and YouTubers do to help keep things moving along?
I mean, I think one of the things now is that it's so much more focused, where like the writers can talk about projects they wrote, but writers who are in SAG are still, there's all these things, but what people can do, I think, is I think that it's good to learn about how we won and what that meant and the public pressure, because I can tell you from being inside the negotiating room, the public pressure on the studios matters a ton. Because they need people to like them and like their stuff. So the pressure of that our guild wasn't going to break, their pressure of that everyone, when daytime shows tried to come back, everyone turned on the hosts, like all of this to show that the tide isn't with them.
Right.
Is huge. And so I think with SAG, it's about continuing to stand with them and talking with them and working with them. And which is, I know it's hard because like even with Yubnub, we haven't talked about any new stuff still. And, and it is what it is. But I think the way to be supportive are two big things. Is to, if you have the ability to donate to places like the Entertainment Community Fund, the Green Envelope Fund, because these aren't going to like, they're nothing fancy here. It's like literally we're buying groceries for people, for crew members, for and not just for actors, for crew members and lighting guys and focus pullers and PAs and interns who don't have food, who can't make rent. Just we're continuing to try to support them, and then just keeping the public pressure up on the studios that every time they try BS, every time they try their PR thing, just being like, just give the actors a deal and we're done.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, it took 4 days of serious negotiating in the room to get our deal done. So they meet on Monday. We could be done on Friday if they want to take it seriously. So I pray that they do.
Well, excellent. Well, Greg, thank you so much from me and Nick and Chris and the people who listen to us. This has been such great insight. Otherwise, I would have been just as confused as everybody else. And again, congratulations, and I can't wait till this is all done so we can all start talking about things. Make sure to check out Yubna Podcast with Greg and some of his writer friends, and a great show that we love to listen to as well. But Greg, thank you so much. Safe travels, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And we're back, and by we, I mean I'm back with Force Connect, the only live Star Wars Friday night conversation where we take your calls and hear from you. Again, congratulations to our good friend Greg and the WGA, but another good friend of ours, John Tague, who's watching. Thanks for checking in, John. Member of SAG. These guys need their deal, man. We can't, we will not talk about all the content that's out there until all the entertainment unions are properly taken care of. It's so important. And we saw it. The deal that Greg was talking about was a really important and good deal. Never mind the fact that it's a good deal for them financially and all that stuff. That's of course number one priority. But if you look at the long-term implications, there's so much going on. Technology is moving faster than our than faster than we can keep up with. And so it's really important that the contracts are not written in such a way that technology can screw over creators. And honestly, when I look at it as a YouTuber and as a podcaster, what's to stop some sort of pushback on content creators? So it's important that we support our friends for all the right reasons. And congratulations again to WGA, and let's get SAG a deal, and let's get back to business as usual. Well, as we wait for business as usual to return with either Chris and or Nick joining us, we will we'd love to continue the conversation. One of the things we want to talk about tonight was we want to talk about the Lando movie, and we wanted to talk about what your sort of dream Haslab project is. Haslab is a very interesting concept where, I mean, I think the Haslab Ghost was $500. They're not cheap. But they're beautiful, and they're super sized. I think the Haslab Ghost is going to come in at about 3 feet long. So there's some really cool things coming out of Haslab. So I'm going to bring in some of our guests to speak to us. And what I'd love to do is I'll give them the choice. Do they want to talk about Lando, or do they want to talk about Haslab? So let's start with our first caller of the night.
Go for Papa Palpatine.
You have a collect call from
Darth Vader.
I gotta take this. Hold on.
Hello there.
We have our first caller of the night, Eric. Eric, how you doing, buddy? Are you in a hospital bed? Are you okay? Should we be worried?
I'm in my new room.
All right. Is that a dog? What kind of dog is that?
It's a beagle.
Oh, look at the beagle. What's his name?
I don't feel like getting up. I'm tired. There's been a lot of moving. There's a bunch of boxes over there.
All right. Well, you're settled in, it looks like.
Lando.
You want to talk Lando? Cool. Let's talk Lando, because I have some thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. Now that we know that that Glover is saying it's going to be a movie instead of a show. What do you want to see? What's your expectation for a Lando movie?
My own personal ordered want is that I want Jeff Goldblum to play his cape dresser.
His cape maker. That would
Yes, I
would be
want
fantastic.
but like I'm familiar with his work. Like I've seen him plenty of movies, TV.
Yeah.
He's one of the main writers of Atlanta. So I'm like, if he's part of it, I'm like, I already know it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Did
have
you
a
like
question
his
about
Lando
that.
portrayal in Solo?
I like it way more than Billy D. I know I get pushback for that, but I
Oh,
think it's a better performance.
all right. Okay.
I love Billy D. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
He did my people right for a long time. But it's like he has singing, acting, rapping, comedy. Like he does it all.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like I know you've seen Bombad cast here and there.
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Do you know that I give people that are on that channel rap names?
Rap names. So, what do you call Scotty, for example?
Scotty is Scott LaRock.
Scott. Well, that's a good one. I like that.
Jerry is G-Eazy. And I'm extending it to you guys
Oh,
now.
fantastic. I'm honored.
You are Pete Rock.
Pete Rock. Well, it's not that much different than Scotty Rock, but I'll take it.
We have Greg, who is just up here. He's Greg Nice from Nice and Smooth.
Greg's awesome, and Greg Nice is a good name. Yes.
Mr. Ryan's is Ludacris.
Ludacris. Yep. Sort of like Lando Calrissian.
And
Yep.
Mr. Milky is Nick Ross.
Nick. Well, we're gonna have to get shirts with our names on them now with from you. So, if you were to move forward with the Lando, what do you want to see in the Lando movie?
I mean, it would be nice to have Alden just back for us for a little bit.
That'd be
Like
cool. Yeah.
Just gotta give him 5 minutes. Like I
Yep.
don't need it to be like a buddy cop
Yep.
situation. I want to see new characters added because like we can't really have L3 anymore. She's kind of blown up.
Yeah, she's stuck in
have,
the Falcon somewhere. Yep.
you just have some cool side characters. Maybe we'll get like I don't know a slightly younger Lobot. I don't know. maybe Lobot had hair back in the day.
There you go. Lobot with a toupee. That'd be wild. So
it started receding.
yeah, that would be funny. That would be great.
Mhm.
Well, cool, man. Well, it's good. I'm glad you're moved into your new place. It's good to see you as always. What's the dog's name? I gotta ask the dog's name.
Malcolm.
Malcolm. All right. Like,
Yeah, this cousin's dog. But anyway, everyone, even though WJ took a win, they're still struggling. If you
Yep.
can help them out, please. SAG as well. Like they're still in the pickets,
yep.
fighting for their lives
Yep.
against the capitalistic oligarchies taking advantage of them.
For sure. Yep. Well, Eric, thank you so much, man, and we will see you next week. Maybe you'll be, sitting up next week. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Maybe if I get a chair.
Well, congrats on the new place, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
See ya. It's great to hear from Eric. You never know where it's going to go, and I do. Now I'm going with Pete Rock. That's my name. From now on, I will only answer to Pete Rock. That's written in stone now. So I put the link in the chat. You get to be the co-host tonight. I don't have Chris. I don't have Nick. You can join us. You can be the co-host for a little bit. And I'm going to bring in another caller who has become a regular, and we love seeing him. So let's bring him in.
Oh, thank the force! Come here, you little womp rat!
Howdy ho.
Hello from one Eric to the next, Sir Eric Brown. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Had a tough couple weeks, but doing well.
Thank
Doing
you.
well. Well, that's
Yeah.
good to hear. That's good to hear. You get the Chewbacca hoodie on.
Sweatshirt. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's hoodie season. It's starting to get
Yeah.
there. We're in September. It's starting to get a little
Yeah.
bit chilly, but so what do you want? Do you want to talk about Lando or do you want to talk about Haslab? I know you made a Haslab comment on Twitter
Yeah.
today, but
I could do both, but
well,
I'll
let's
mix
start with
it up.
one and let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Let's start with the Haslab stuff because I am a big collector of stuff, and I backed the Razor Crest. I have it sitting right next to me. I backed the Ghost. I did back the failed Rancor and the Riva lightsaber that failed as well.
I'm not surprised that the Riva lightsaber didn't pick up, and not just because of the stupid grifters and the people who have their bizarre opinions online. I just feel like it wasn't as well known a lightsaber.
If it was if it was the Grand Inquisitors, it probably would have stood a bit of a better chance. But I'm a big lightsaber collector too, and at the end of the day, it was actually pretty good value for money for what the Hasbro Force FX Elite lightsabers cost when you consider that it was essentially two lightsabers, right? For just combined into one, and it had a lot more intricate details. I talked to the electrical engineer from Hasbro who was behind that at Celebration Anaheim in what was it, last year. So there were some really cool kind of details that they put in with how it was supposed to interact with like the recent Obi-Wan one that they launched and whatnot. There was supposed to be like certain, like if something happened here, then it would interact with the Obi-Wan saber. It was cool, but in any case, that one failed. That one wasn't as big of a surprise. I wish they would resurrect the Rancor campaign. That is really painful for me. I'm a big Black Series collector. I do have some. I do the vintage collection scale, the classic 3 3/4 scale for like vehicles, because you can't really get that in the 1/12 scale and for 6-inch Black Series figures, or at least not many of them. They've tried and they're generally too expensive, too big. But yeah, that Rancor campaign, for those who are aware, was just destined to fail from the start.
And it was just a weird time, I think, and it was, I don't think it hit. So if you were going to be able to pick the next Haslab, and let's add to it and say guaranteed to be funded.
Ooh,
which one would you push for?
Okay, so being a Black Series collector, I really want to see a successful Black Series campaign, which they've yet to have one. Really, the Rancor was really the only one in. They call the Riva lightsaber a Black Series Haslab, but it really wasn't. It's their own kind of like premium role play thing.
Yeah, and so just for people who aren't familiar, Black Series is the larger size, right?
Yeah,
it's usually a little bit more accurate. The figures are the larger size figures, right? They're a little more accurate. Yep.
Yeah, this is my selfie series, or one of my selfie series that I got. I in case you're not aware, I'll just do a plug for them. I don't earn any commissions. They do this thing called selfie series. If you have the Hasbro Pulse mobile app, you can scan your face, and they just improved it to have like sculpted facial hair and glasses and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, they have like, you could be a Rebel pilot. I also did Mando.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool.
And I have one of my wife as Princess Leia, Hawk Leia. So
that's awesome.
So they also do Stormtroopers, I think, are the only other option for Star Wars. They should do more. It would be cool if they got Jedi. But back to your question. Oh, hey, Chris.
Hey.
Out of breath.
Take your time. Take your time. We're good. We're good. Nothing but time, brother.
So I'm not sure if I have any. Well, actually, I do, because I just bought some stuff on eBay recently for 3 3/4. So this is kind of hard to see, but for scale, maybe Chewie's a bit bad example because he's tall, but this
Right.
is like the kind of
Right. Those are more the size of the classic ones that we played
Yeah.
with when in the 70s and 80s. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's your Black Series dream?
Yeah, it has to be a figure pack, and for me, I've always I mentioned in Twitter it'd kind of be a toss up between like give me every Jedi Master or like every Jedi Council member from the prequels that they haven't done in the Black Series yet, because they're just not likely to get to all of them. But I think the one that would be more guaranteed to fund would be give us every Cantina alien from A New Hope.
Wow.
In or at least most of the big ones, right? We've gotten a few of them, and we're getting Hammerhead in Black Series now. So
right,
that one I think would be the one that would be guaranteed to fund in Black Series. Just do a dream figure pack of. See, the thing with Black Series is it doesn't have to be just limited to those big items. Just like big collections of items that aren't going to sit on retail shelves because they're going to cost too much to produce.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Chris, is there a Black Series, or not even a Black Series, but is there a Chris Rhines is joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm glad he's here. Is there a Haslab that you would invest in? Have you? Well, let me ask you: have you invested in any of the Haslabs yourself yet?
I wish I could, but money is terrible. But I would have definitely done the Ghost if I could. Yeah. I'm still kicking myself for not doing this the katana, the sail barge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I got that.
As a lightsaber nerd, I wanted that Inquisitor saber, but unfortunately,
I wanted it too. Yeah.
People hated Reva.
Stupid.
But for Black Series, I would like a Finn and Poe from Rise of Skywalker, like or like any of the figures from Rise of Skywalker that's not Rey or Kylo Ren would be great. And I would like to see some comics, me. So I want to see some of the comics characters, instead of them doing like just a reissue of Darth Vader or the Imperial Stormtroopers, like some comic book characters would be fantastic. And if they want to keep it safe, do Lando, Luke, Leia, and Han.
They've been doing some of them. From the comics.
It's a small handful.
They're doing like Scar Squadron, and they've done like Leia from.
You mean the Bad Batch?
Yeah. Well, they've only done 2 so far. They've only done 2. Tech and
Creel and
Creel.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Like I said, Tech. But I would love to see any of those comic book characters. Like I said, give us like legacy ones in the outfits that they were in some of the shows. Like you've done Dr. Aphra twice. It's time to I want a Baylor Valance. I want Tonga. Give me a young Tasu Leech.
That'd be a good figure.
Yeah. Give me just there's so much they could do.
All of Padme's
Son of Staros. Where is my Son of Staros?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And give me the Amidalans. Give me a pack of Amidalans. Give me all.
Yeah, I think if I was going to go with a Haslab, I think because they're generally larger ships or larger sets, they are also usually vintage collection sized. I would love to see, and maybe it's recency bias, but I would love to see Ahsoka's Jedi
the T6
shuttle, the T6, or and Amidala's ship from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Or better yet, here's the real one that I would love. I would love to see Sebulba and Anakin's pods as a set. The Haslab set. I would take those in a heartbeat.
The most likely ones are probably OT related, and if they were going to do the next Haslab for vintage collection, my money would be on Death Star, Sandcrawler, Ewok Village, Shuttle, Tidarian.
Oh,
one of those.
That's a cool one too. That is a cool one too. Well, Eric, I'm going to keep you here because you want to talk about Lando too, and I know Chris will have an opinion on Lando, and I have an opinion on what I want to see from Lando. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk about what we want to see in this Lando movie. So we'll be right back after this message with more Force Connect.
Are you a fan of the SSW Network? Do you like merchandise that borders on copyright infringement? Then you're going to love the all-new SSWNetworkShop.com. Featuring t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, jackets, sweatshirts, and most designs are available as stickers, mugs, and Pilsner glasses. Proudly show the world that you're a shill, or that you have a favorite Star Wars podcast, or that you love jizz. You know, the cantina music from the first movie. So head on over to www.theSSW Network, click on merchandise, and you'll be taken straight to our store. There's more than 40 designs to choose from, and if you use the code SHILL15 now, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Buying merchandise from the SSW Network shop is a great way to support your favorite content creators, as well as tell the world that, hey, you're a shill too. Head on over to the SSWNetwork.com, click merchandise, and use code SHILL15 to get your merchandise today.
Didn't they recently retcon jizz? Yeah. I haven't read from a certain point of view yet.
Did they retcon it, or did they just create a
Jats.
different words? Yeah, I saw
Jet. Now, it you know what? It needed to happen. Slave one. It needed to happen. You know,
it'll always be jizz.
Wait to hear
to
some
me.
jizz. You know, it's not
Do
gonna...
you think like when somebody submitted their story for a certain point of view, they were like, "We're gonna change that," and they were like, "No, but it's jizz." And they're like, "No, it's jats now." I'm sorry.
You know what jizz means. We can't be talking about baby batter all over the place. What's wrong with you people? It's got to change.
Well, my kids call the Cantina band buttheads, so you know,
There you go.
They're kind of on that way. All right, so let's talk about Lando before we walk out of here. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear from you guys. Maybe let's start with you, Eric. What do you want to see from a Glover Lando movie?
Lots of debauchery. I just want to see Lando get his freak on. Not like actually, but like I just want to see him in his element, right?
Yeah, like being like hanging
Like
out at the clubs and just womanizing, manizing, alienizing whoever he can.
Droidizing. I mean,
droidizing.
he had a questionable relationship with L3.
Yeah, he sure did, and that's I'm still trying to deal with that mentally. I'm still trying to get through that, but
yeah.
Interesting. Chris, do you have any thoughts on what you'd like to see? Because I have like some very specific things that I have in mind on a Lando movie, but other than you playing the voice of Lando reading his stories, but I mean that's what I want.
I have no expectations or not, you know, soft demands or anything like that. Just, you know, what's the word I use when it comes to Star Wars stuff? Gimme is the word. So just gimme. You know, like I'm just you know, seeing him, you know, the way Lando's portrayed in the comics. You know, Charles Soule is doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
With him. You know, I'd love to see some stuff, you know, incorporated into like, you know, what happened in the Lando book that Soule did a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd love to see, you know, like, you know, Lobot before, you know, the cybernetics like really took over, like them have, you know, adventures or little capers they get into, that sort of thing. And yeah, I would love to see, like, everyone's talking like, you know, now they've got this Lando movie, let's put Alden Ehreich in there. Like, sure. Don't have him take over the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, you fooled me with The Force Awakens with Finn and Rey. Don't do it again.
Yeah, well, that's
So,
I think that's the advantage to Glover writing it is he's going to go all Lando. I think he's going to tell the full Lando
Well,
story.
what are the constraints we're dealing with the show, right? Realistically, it's happening before he appears in Rebels. It's somewhere between Solo and Rebels.
Well, but
And-
see, so that's exactly where I was going from a
because
perspective.
at that point, sorry to jump in on that. Like at the point he shows up in Rebels, he's not the Baron Administrator yet, and with Solo, like I think everyone went into Solo knowing what the end outcome is going to be. Han wins the Falcon from Lando, but going into this, like what's the obvious one for Lando would be becoming Baron Administrator, but for that to happen, it has to be in like a narrower time space between Rebels and Empire, right?
Yeah. So my feeling is because we don't know when it's going to be. We don't really we know nothing about it, which is kind of cool. I say, based on what we've seen with the recent Disney Plus show, which is leading from between Jedi and the sequel trilogy, I would love to see. I'd love to see him take the role of Lando post Jedi. There's nothing that stops us from doing that.
Ooh, okay.
And I would love to see. I'd love to see some of his adventures, some of the stuff that we read in the where he gets together. Didn't he get together with Luke in
Shadow of the Sith or
and also was it Last Shot? I think that
Last
Daniel
Shot. That's the second story in Last
Yeah.
Shot, right?
Yeah,
there was some there was some after Jedi stuff because he interacted with Baby Ben, right?
Yeah, so I'd like to see that because I think that the new show that we're not talking about is setting the table for incorporating some of the classic characters in Dave Filoni's film when it comes out.
Okay.
And I would love to see them because I don't think Lando played that big a role in the New Republic, but I'm sure he was doing some really fun and interesting stuff. So I'd love to see them go that route. So
there's the whole thing of how the First Order had taken his daughter.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff I'd like to see. Like maybe it'll be a different Lando where he's not, hey everybody, how you doing, and blah blah blah, and drinking and all that shit. But it could be him dealing with the loss of his daughter. Yeah, and maybe we'll finally, and we finally find out who his, who the mother is, who is or potential wife or partner, is. That would be super dope. So
Can I pose a question on that? Just
sure.
I guess I was going in assuming, oh no, this has to be like at least pre-Empire.
Yeah,
that
I think
would
most
be
people are. Yeah.
That would be an interesting story, but just I'd almost think like the vast majority of people would kind of probably expect to see the Lando in between Solo and Empire, and if they did that story, I think it would be really cool and compelling, and I'm sure it would be awesome. But do you think that's setting the stage for like less commercial success?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in all honesty, I think what we will get versus what I want, I think we will get just a wild Lando independent story.
Yeah.
Right. Because after he lost the Falcon and before Han went back to him, or met back up with him at Cloud City, he was doing some crazy shit. So I would love to see it. So whatever that looks like, I think it'd be great. Last question for you guys before I wrap this up is: are you disappointed that it's not a series, or do you think it'll work as a film?
What did Nick put up in the chat?
Let me see here. Gimme.
Yeah.
He said gimme.
Yeah. I think
they can just give it.
I'd be happy in any kind of form, but the only series I think I've seen so far that hasn't kind of like taken a little bit of its time to really get going was Andor. Andor was the one series where I think like it kept me engaged pretty much the entire way. I'm always engaged, right? But like, I think one of the kind of common criticisms is like you see like 80% of the show before things really get interesting to most people out there. And the benefit of a feature film is you don't have that kind of airtime to
you get the full story.
right?
Yeah, it's so funny because as you listen to the recap shows of any of the series, right, whether it's the new ones or those scabs who are out there talking about it, the or
I'm doing my best to
or any of the shows that we've seen, the challenge that the Star Wars fandom is facing is that it's like if you were watching Star Wars and the droids get caught by the Jawas and then the episode ends and we're like, oh, well, what happens? Where do those Jawas come from? What are they doing? What are the who's going to buy them? And, blah, blah, and it's I think a story, especially a cool opportunity for a Lando story. Maybe it sets up a series, but I would love to see it start. I'm glad it's going movie first, personally, because I also feel like I feel like the person in charge can do something great with it. So well, cool. Well, Eric, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. We will see you again next week, I hope.
Yeah. Cheers.
And may the force be with you. Well, Chris, we are. Let me tell you what you missed. You missed.
I watched my whole drive home.
Well, then I'm not going to tell you what you missed. But whatever, it's all good. How are you doing?
Oh, we can do a recap, sir.
No, I'm not doing the recap.
Well, all right.
You do your own thing.
he planted his feet on that one.
How's it going? How are you feeling? How's life treating you?
Doing all right. Yeah, work was just. I had a lot in front of me. As you saw when I sent you that picture of. Well, you already have one back there. The Ahsoka 332nd just got that in. Yeah, awesome. Got in the Mace Windu. Was Clone Wars. It was the anniversary. I think it was a Lucasfilm anniversary or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it's the old Genny Tartakovsky Clone Wars. Mace Windu got the Ayla Secura in at the shop. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Cool stuff. It's a good day. Just busy. Just busy.
That's cool. I went to Galaxy's Edge this week.
Yeah, you did.
In Disney, in Florida. I'd never been to that one. It's like it makes it sound like I go to one every week, but I'd been to California twice. And this is the first time I had a chance to go there. I was down there doing something else, and I took the car over. It was a 20-minute drive. I checked on my phone, and it said there was only a 20-minute wait for Rise of the Resistance. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do that again. I get there. I literally get there. And the woman working the front said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. The ride just broke down." And I was like, oh, "Are you kidding me?"
You should have turned into Chevy Chase in Summer Vacation at that point. You totally went nuts.
Just like started like, I don't care if it doesn't work. Let me walk through it. I don't care. I'm doing it. So, but the plus side was, I did get to go into the single rider line for the Smuggler's Run, and like literally walked right in and sat down, and I was with some family and just probably interrupted their little family time. But I was the gunner, so I'm just sitting there tapping the thing. But you're a lightsaber guy, so I have to share this with you.
Did you get it?
I walked in and into Savi's workshop, or not Savi's, Doc Ondar's, and lightsaber hilts were 30% off.
Yeah,
30% off, which was which made it impossible to not walk out with something. And so I went with Ahsoka's.
Nice. Got a little Padawan.
Yeah, you get the little Shinto version, and you get the full size one. And
I don't want to even ask how much that's cost, even with 30% off. I don't.
It was $250 with 30% off, whatever that came down to. Which honestly, you can. So since we have the blade from Jack's saber that he made in at Savi's.
And it works on there. Nice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I wish they would just sell the hilts. Like
do just sell the hilts.
No. I mean, like the Force Effects ones.
Oh, right.
Like I just want the hilts. The blades I have the blades on in my closet. Like I don't even.
Yeah, I gotta get a couple blades because I want to get also a short blade to go with the shorter hilt. But
yeah, did you see the Kanan Jarrus one?
I did not see it. I didn't see it. It's apparently it's only on display in California. I saw the Ezra one, and
is it the staple gun or the other one?
No, it was the staple. No, it was the just the hilt version. The Sabine version. Well, not even the Sabine version because that one's there. I came down to I was down to 3. It was either that one. My other 2 choices were. Do you want to guess which other 2 I was thinking? Okay,
you got?
so
Tell me.
I almost was. I was torn between that, the original trilogy, Obi-Wan, because that's just classic.
Yeah.
Or Darth Maul. But the problem with Darth Maul is you have to buy 2 because they go together, and it just didn't. I couldn't. That comes out to like $320, which that's.
I would have taken his single. That one didn't he have a single saber?
They have the Shadow Maul, which is the single saber version.
Okay.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you know what I would love to see is the one that he had in Solo with the big curve on it.
Yeah, that's the one.
But
I would love to see. I love that one.
They had. They also had. I was tempted by the Cal Kestis one.
That's the other one. I need them all. Damn it!
What I need is
them all.
All one so that I can keep this look and.
Yeah, you need Balin's. Yeah, you definitely need Balin's. So many cool sabers.
But yeah, with the Kanan one, I think that's going to sell out quick. I think that's going to be a big deal. So
yeah, I'm going in December, so hopefully I could get 1 or 2 or 7, and then and did you get any kyber crystals while you were there? Because I would have drained that place of all the kyber crystals.
I thought about it, but Jack Saber, he's got a yellow that he got from our good friend Brian, and he got it with a red. So I didn't get a blue or a green. I thought about it, but I did not. And there's just, I mean, when you walk into Doc Ondar's, there's like everything you want. You're like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. And I'm like, oh, an emperor's robe. And I'm like, I'll never need that, but I want it. It all looks so cool.
I'll use it.
but so the worst part was though, I'm standing there in the shop and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out. And as I walk out, the rain starts. And when I say it was raining, dude, it was raining. So it was like hurricane rain. I didn't have a jacket or anything. So I turned the bag upside down to make sure my sabers didn't get ruined. I couldn't even get my Uber because my phone screen got so wet so fast. Wow. I got back to my hotel. I was literally
drenched. And how long did the rain last? You know, it was like 40 minutes or something.
Normally it's like done. It was like 4 hours. It was a crazy night. It was a crazy night. And so I was disappointed that I didn't get to do anything else, but any moment you get to walk through Galaxy's Edge, as you know, is worth it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to go by myself.
That was great. I did it by myself, and that's why I was hoping I would get more time. It's just because you can stop and just look at a cage full of helmets and like be a nerd for as long as you want, and nobody will bother you.
And Woodsy, you were absolutely listen. I will find the black. I looked all over eBay for the black kyber crystal or whatnot. There are all these custom ones. No, I need the real one. So yeah, I'll take as many red crystals. You know me. I'll take as many red crystals as I can. Hopefully they have whatever this one that Balin has is orangey, blood orange, almost red.
Yeah,
kyber crystal thingy. Yeah, I want that. The only ones I don't really want are like green and blue. Yeah. But I'll take all the others.
So traditional. So traditional. Oh, man. Well, Chris, we are going to call it a night. Tell us what's happening in the Broaxium world.
Well, let's see. Next month is the we're doing a 5-year anniversary show. Dan and I are going to be hosting that, and we'll have people, you know, if you guys ever want to come on. And
congratulations, man! 5 years.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, we put in some work over the years for this whole thing, and you know, so thankful for the community that we've met. You know, the people that you know we've befriended and all that stuff. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. So we'll be doing that at some point next month. I got to get with Dan and see like what days he's available. You know, he's busy dad, so you know I gotta work off his schedule. No problem. I believe there's a Shooting a Poodoo this Sunday live on the Verizon channel. Wednesday night we've got BX Gaming with Roke and Dan. I'm not sure what they're playing. I'm so informed. Let's see. Also, this coming week we have Bounty Hunters and Darth Vader coming out for comics, so expect some quick shots on that.
I love the quick shot.
Yeah, I think a new Star Bros episode is coming out. We're going to be talking about these. I'm going to talk about this. Okay, but yeah, you know the thing. So yeah, so that's what we got going on.
That's awesome. Hey, are you playing Starfield?
Busy week. I was.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about September 2023. The video game industry did not care about people's money. They wanted it all. And so it was Starfield. And then the next week it was Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
And then like after that it was what I'm playing right now, which is Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty.
Yep.
So yeah, they came for everyone's pocket. So like Starfield is only like a couple weeks old. It's already old news.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat came out like last week. It's old news already because Phantom Liberty's out. So
yep. And you got Assassin's Creed, I think, next week, right? If you're into those games.
Yeah.
I think that's next week.
It's not really my thing. But yeah, I can't go sneaking around. I'm like a Mack truck at a glass shop.
That's
whenever I play these games. But yeah.
Cool. Well, for Around the Galaxy this week, we have Kyra Navarrete. She is one of the hosts for Relatable Nerds. We get to hear her cool story. She comes from a full lifetime of fandom, and she just brings a really cool perspective. She was a lot of fun to talk to. So we'll be talking to her. And patrons, always check your messages because we're doing fun things with you guys. And by the way, patrons, watch your mailboxes. We're going to be sending out your next little fun package, including your Shill membership card. So you'll see that literally a Shill membership card is coming in the mail to you. So Chris, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for making it. I'm glad you joined us for a little bit, and we had some fun. But Chris, may the force be with you.
Always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.